Are you not entertained? Are you not entertained?
And thank you for joining us for The Factor Uncensored tonight. First up, our focus turned to Black conservatives who support President Trump. This is an issue that's ripped from the pages of Nation.com, an article there. Some have accused President Trump of racism on multiple occasions. Last year, he said Black voters are drawn to him because of his criminal indictments and mugshot, a statement some have called racist, while Black conservative supporters not speaking out, according to critics, is an issue. Is there any truth to Black conservatives being at peace with this so-called racism? Or is this the answer more complex? Joining us to talk about it here on The Factor Uncensored tonight, members of the Urban Conservatives of America, Rael Williams, Alexandra Butler, the group's founder, Jonathan McCullough, and former president of NAACP, Brazoria County, Eugene Howard, who's not a member of the group, and you'll soon see. But let's begin with you guys.
Hey, what's going on, family? This is Todd from nopickspodcast. So the topic tonight obviously is do Black conservatives overlook racism? I don't really consider myself a conservative, but I'm born Democrat, been Democrat my whole life, but this is going to sound crazy, but I think I'm not the one who changed. I think the Democratic Party has changed. I think the Democratic Party keeps moving further and further to the left, and a person like me, I'm kind of left with no home other than looking at two different parties that I don't necessarily agree with either on, and siding with the one that I think sounds less crazy. So right now, for me, at this point in time, it's the Republican Party, unfortunately. And I never thought that this would be me. In college, I was super hardcore Democrat, watched CNN all the time, watched MSNBC all the time. I was down for it, but I don't know, they started moving further and further to the left. So for the purpose of this conversation, and I'll put the video on for the people that we just saw, their perspectives and stuff. I just wanted to give a little backdrop of where I stand on this. I think today people would consider me a Black conservative, although I don't really see myself in that way. I just see myself as how Bill Maher says. Bill Maher says he's an old school liberal. Old school liberals, it was cool to say, hey, this thing is ridiculous, and it'd be that. But now it's not the case. You have to dive all in with the craziness, or you're not liberal enough. So yeah, with that being said, I think I'm guessing. I mean, from people looking at me, would probably look at me as a Black conservative probably now, because I voted for Trump this past election, and I've never voted for a Republican before in my life. There's a couple of different reasons why I did vote for Trump though, but I mean, when he ran against Hillary, I thought Hillary was the better candidate. I voted for her. I thought she would have made a fantastic president. Fast forward to this election, I thought he was the better of the two. I thought Kamala was terrible. She never answered a question. Whatever, but that's neither here nor there. So let's just talk about the overall arching. Do Black conservatives overlook racism? All right. So I'm gonna share the screen again, and I'm gonna play what some of them say, and I'm gonna respond to each point. All right. But I just want to give a little backdrop as to, where I fall on this topic.
For those who say there's a lot of racism that you have to stomach as a Black conservative supporting President Trump, what would you say to that?
Personally, I would say that I've ignored a lot of racism from the left. When Joe Biden said that he said poor people are just as bright and talented as white people, that's a racist comment. There's types of racism that seem to go ignored and unnoticed by the left and the right, but it's the racism of low expectations that I can't ignore. And so that's why I brought that up first, is because the racism that they want us to overlook is the racism coming from the left.
All right, let's go down the line, sir, Mr. McCullough.
Yes. All right, so I would argue that I would agree with what she said. The left they do some racist shit, but I don't think they consider it racist. For example, when Trump was first running for president, I remember this went viral on The View. Kelly Osbourne, I remember her being one of the hosts on there, and they were talking about Trump saying we gotta get the illegals out the country, blah blah blah, the Latino the illegal Latinos out the country, blah blah blah. That were flooding the border, and Kelly Osbourne was like, I'm going to mess it up, but her quote was, it was something like, I'm paraphrasing, but she was like, "Oh, Trump, okay, if we get all the Latinos out the country, the illegal Latinos out the country, who's going to clean your toilets, huh? Who's going to clean your toilets?" And everybody else on the View was like, "Oh," they kind of gasped, like, "Oh, no, 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 no!" Like, y'all, like, that's some racist shit to say. That's a racist sentiment to have. But it was no issue. You know what I mean? In her head, she's like, "I'm liberal. I vote Democrat, so I can say this thing." And in her head, she doesn't think it was racist at all. It's absolutely racist, but because she is on the left, people were just like, I mean, all right, well, she kind of said the quiet part out loud. Like, it was absolutely ridiculous. But that shit happens a lot. Happens a lot. Even no, I'm gonna say Joe Biden. Even Joe Biden was like, when he went on the Breakfast Club the first time when he was running for president, the first time he was running for president, he was like, told Charlamagne the God, like, "Oh, if you don't vote for me, you ain't black." That's crazy. Like, that's a crazy thing to say. So if we don't vote for you, then we're not black. That's absolutely ridiculous. But yeah, liberals tend to want you to overlook their racism, and that's true, and that's absolutely true. I think both sides have racism, or even, yeah, both sides have racism, but one side is looked at as more acceptable, or because maybe they're more ignorant or they don't understand or whatever. The other side is looked at as more like blatantly racist or disrespectful. So I would agree with what she says.
Racism to me is not what someone says, it's what they do. And I think this is what makes us different from the left, because we're not watching, what people is saying. We're watching what they're doing. Because at the end of the day, a leader, a president, a politician, whatever you are, is based on policy. So if you can show me policy that affects or that you can call racism, then I'll agree. But up to this point, I have yet to see anything that he's put into law that affects black people negatively.
Well, I disagree with him. It is what you say as well. Like, you can say, if you say, "I hate all black people," that's racism. Even though you're not doing something, you may not ever do anything to black people. If you say, "I hate all black people," or "I hate all Asian people," or "I hate all white people," it's racism. It's still racism. It's just said versus, someone not taking action on it. But so, I agree with his point. There hasn't been any like legislation passed that's anti-black or anti-whatever. But no, you can say something and be looked at as a racist. I disagree with that.
My shit.
All right. Mr. Williams, Ultra MAGA. What you got?
Ultra MAGA. Trump has been great for black people. If you look at the statistics, black unemployment was at the highest rates when he was in office. You go down and you look at, he just declassified the MLK files, something Barack Obama didn't do when he was in office.
Of course not.
You people are saying he's racist, but he's doing things that presidents that were of color didn't even do.
That's right.
Hold on, wait, let me finish.
It's only been one, don't say it.
So again, Trump is the man. I support him hands down, because what he's done for black people is literally like, you can't compare it to anything.
Right. And before we get to Eugene, let me ask you this question, the crux of that interview, that article. Do you see racism in the conservative movement that you're a part of? Obviously, you've already said you see it everywhere, but do you see it in the organization? Either of you?
Well, here's the thing. How are we defining racism? Once again, if we're going to define racism
okay, really, you know what racism is. So just tell me if you have seen it, if you experienced.
All right, let me pause this right here, because he's trying to dance around a question. To answer to answer the dude's question, the host question, yes. There is racism within the Republican Party. Absolutely. There's a wing of the Republican Party that hates black people, that hates Jewish people, that, hate everybody that's not white. That's just what it is, right? That's a part of it. It's a part of the fabric of the Republican Party. It just is what it is. Now, I would argue that that's not like the it's not mainstream. It's like cast off to the side. It's like, okay, well, I'm not going to a lot of those politicians are like, listen, I know these people exist. I'm not going to condemn it, but I'm not going to like advocate for it either. So that's what I would argue the issue of the Republican Party is when it comes to minority supporting them. But I would argue that's a fringe part of the Republican Party. Now, Democrats have their own fringe part have their own fringe party, whereas, you know, Occupy Wall Street, let's kill all CEOs, let's you know what I mean? We can't define what a man or a woman is. Like that's also fringe. That's some crazy outside this world crazy shit. That's undoubtedly a part of the Democratic Party. So both I would argue both segments have their ridiculous parts. I think the difference between the Republican Party and the Democratic Party, as I see it anyway, is the fact that the Republican Party like knows this wing exists within their party, but they kind of just quietly accept the support and move on, and they don't, you know, champion their ideas or anything like that. They're just like, listen, y'all motherfuckers want to vote for me, y'all go ahead and vote for me. Like, I can't stop y'all from voting for me, right? Like, you're not going to vote for the trans person on the other side of the Democratic Party. So, like, that's whatever. You're going to vote for the Republican Party. The difference, but the Democratic Party makes the fringe movement the face of the movement. So it's like when you have Democratic politicians going there talking about some I don't know what a man or I don't know what a woman is, that shit is crazy. You sound like a crazy fucking person. You're taking that fringe part of your party and embracing it and making it your like a pillar issue that you stand on. That's the difference. Like, they don't stand on racism. They're not like, hey, we're proud to be a racist party. Democrats are like, hey, we're proud to be a ridiculously, you know, unrelatable party, because normal people are not like, hey, men can have babies. Normal people aren't saying that, but these Democratic politicians are like, well, it's possible, but they know they're lying. So that's the difference between the two. They both have crazy ass wings of the party. One embraces their wing, the other one kind of just ignores it like a bad rash or something. They're like, all right, well, you'll vote for me, but it's cool. But they're not out there hanging with them and shit like that and being like, hey, like, we represent this like, yeah.
I know what racism is, but I can't speak for everybody else.
Well,
Okay.
let me say something.
Go ahead.
Okay,
Alexandra.
so when somebody on the left sees me, a black woman, and just assumes I'm poor or ignorant, or they're like, "Oh my goodness, you speak so well," you're just, they're so shocked about that. Why are they shocked about it? That is racism. I overlook that a lot because I'm saying they don't know any better. That happens to me a lot from people on the left. They think that they're my ally. I need their hand. I need them to come in and save me, and I don't. I need God. I don't need them. They're not my Messiah or my Savior. So Malcolm X said it best. You know, the liberal is the enemy of the black man. And we can see it right clearly before our eyes. They look at us like we're scum. They look at us like we're poor. And black people are falling for the okie doke. And they're saying, oh, the white man is better than us. He's supreme over us. That's what white supremacy is. Right. I don't believe anybody is superior over me. I don't live my life that way. So I just live according to freedom and liberty.
All right, let's hear from Eugene.
Please, man, I've been in this twilight zone. Like, I've been patiently over here at the tail dog position. So first of all, if you can't see the racism, your eyes are just closed. You said it's not about what people say about policy. So let's just run it down real quick. They removed the Harriet Tubman from the National Archives. So, I mean, Harriet was what? I'm sorry, the Trump administration. I'm going to be very clear.
But they didn't.
I'm sorry, they did, and
You're
because
wrong.
of that, no.
Okay,
I let them speak.
Hold on, real quick, guys. Let him go, and then
Thank
you.
you.
We have two segments.
Thank you. They removed it, and then they had to put it back after backlash. The same thing they did with the Tuskegee Airmen. They removed that and had to put that back. Trump is literally trying to dismantle Black America. They literally had an executive order to the Smithsonian that did not want to fund African American Cultural Museum because they feel like that's anti-racism or that's reverse racism. Now, as we sit here, we have to be intellectually honest because you guys are being intellectually dishonest. If you can't sit here and tell us, everyone's watching on TV. Don't take my word for it.
You've lied.
On TV, you see it yourself. Listen, I'm reading for myself. All I've heard about the left this. What about
It's
this?
coming,
Last
Mr. Cole.
time I
It's
checked,
coming.
the Trump administration is the one cutting the Medicaid, cutting Social Security, cutting
I got a
Medicare.
question.
They're the ones that's cutting
You want
education.
answer?
Last time I checked, Joe Biden, you talked about unemployment was the lowest under Donald Trump.
Yeah.
My guy. Joe Biden had the lowest unemployment. Like
No,
you guys want to
You ain't
forget
black
about
unless
that.
you voted for Joe Biden.
I mean, you
so-
can cherry pick that. You can cherry
okay.
pick whatever you want, just like
He's
Trump
basically-
said.
he's
Just
basically
like
proving our
Trump
point.
said,
Okay. He's
if you're a
basically proving our
felon,
All right,
you
all
right.
right, Eugene, let's hear
okay.
from Mr. McCullough.
Well,
here.
basically, he's proving the point. He started talking about the
Policies.
No,
Oh.
he did.
Policies.
He started,
That's what I start talking about.
Let me talk.
Policies.
You started. His whole conversation was
Policies.
about statues and Harry and this, that, and the third, and Washington DC.
Policies.
What does that have to do with the price of gas? Nothing.
What does that have to do with? What does the price of glass have to do with being black?
What I'm saying.
What does the price of gas?
All right, so I'm gonna stop it right here. All right, so I mean, listen, this was an interesting conversation. I disagree with the guy Eugene. I think his name. He was the one that was saying that black conservatives do ignore racism. I disagree with the dude Eugene talking about Harriet Tubman and the Tuskegee Airmen, blah blah blah. The reason I disagree with his assessment that in and of itself makes conservatives racist or look racist is because they've also done that with white generals. They've done that to statues of Christopher Columbus, George Washington, who they've been taking down their shit and saying that those people have a terrible history, blah, blah, blah. So these are like white people doing it to other white people. So I don't know. I mean, both sides do it. Both sides take down monuments and try to disregard historical figures or incidents that happen. I don't think that in and of itself makes someone racist or I disagree with that. They're black people and white people, liberals have taken down statues of great Confederate generals or George Washington and shit like that. Like they've done that and discredit the things that they've done throughout history. But to address his point with Trump, when Trump said, "Oh well, black people will relate to me because I was locked up," I thought that was some bullshit. I won't lie. I thought that was like a slap in the face. To be like, oh, now black people gonna like Trump because he got locked up like all of us get locked up. That was some bullshit. I will 1,000% jump on that. That was ridiculous. That was a slap in the face. What else? But I mean, listen, Kamala did the same shit. Kamala, when the news came out that Kamala was having issues with black voters, she came out with this 6-step program to get black male voters, and 2 of the programs involved smoking weed. One of the programs involved so one of them was like decriminalizing weed, right? Because all black dudes smoke weed, right? So if you say, hey, you can smoke weed, guys, and we won't lock you up, all black people can be like, oh yeah, we know we love Kamala, we love this shit, yeah, we love weed so much, Then another point was also weed involved. It was like, oh well, you can invest in your own weed dispensary. It's like, goddamn. So it's like out of the 6-point program that you had, 2 of them involved weed. So it's like black men are just so entrenched in love weed that we'll just go jump off the porch for you and support you. That was also a slap in the face, and she's a black woman, right? So that was her slapping black men in the face. So I mean, both sides do it. It doesn't look. If Trump would have cast some shit out like that, y'all would have jumped on his fucking throat and been like, "Yo, you racist son of a bitch! You gonna talk about something? Oh, not all black people smoke weed." But Kamala put her shit out, and he was like, "Oh well, we kind of can see it." No, I think it just depends on how you see the world. If you already see the world if you're a Democrat, you a diehard Democrat, it don't matter what the hell happened or who they run, you're gonna vote Democrat. I was in that camp at one point, and I just think they just slowly start moving to the left. Like again, I've said this before in the pod, but once I start seeing Ivy League educated people on Capitol Hill, whether it's at one of them hearings or in the media or whatever, once I start seeing them look the camera in the face and say, I don't know if men can have babies, I was like, this isn't a serious group. These people are fucking insane. I was like, I just can't do it. That's when I'm like, yo, listen, I loved Obama. I thought he was awesome. If Obama would have said some shit like that back in 2020, and was it 20 in 2008, I wouldn't have voted for him. I'd have been like, this dude sounds crazy as shit. I'm not voting for him. I'm sorry. You're not gonna be the first black dude I vote for. Sorry. But it is an interesting question. You definitely looked at, as a black conservative, you're definitely looked at by black people overall and by the Democratic Party as a sellout. Yeah, and it just is what it is. It's an unfortunate truth of where we are today. And another part for me is I this is getting long, so I'm getting long winded with it. But I do want to say this. A part of it too, why I voted for Trump is like, yo, black people, we've been voting for the Democratic Party for like 50 years, bro. Like, maybe we should try something else. Like, this shit obviously hasn't been working, right? Like, we have historically low, reading levels, right? Like, we haven't, succeeded financially in life like that, right? I mean, why keep trying the same thing? Maybe vote Republican. Maybe something will come of it. We've been voting for Democrat for 60 years. Like, why not try something else? I also think that it didn't matter who the Democrats ran this time. I think people were just kind of like, bro, like y'all just seem ridiculous, man. Like, it needs to be a fresh face, a fresh Democratic face that's not scared to make common sense statements. That's not scared to get called not liberal enough to make common sense statements. Like, because if not, then we just y'all. I mean, I guess y'all. It's a y'all at this point. I was about to say we, but y'all just gonna keep losing because no one is buying this radical liberal shit, man. Like, it's people like you gotta. It's just too much, man. It's too much. Like, it's too much, and whatever. That's, I guess I'll get off my soapbox or whatever. Let me know what y'all think, family. Like, comment, subscribe, and until next time.